All right, my friends. Today on Mom Boss Mentor, I have a special guest, Jackie, and I'm so excited because this season we are focusing on moms that have changed their trajectory from employee to being entrepreneur. And I am super excited for you to hear her story because it's unlike any of our other guests that we've had. So, Jackie, do you want to share where you're from and a little bit about like your former or your past life as an employee?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks so much for having me on. I definitely appreciate it and appreciate sharing a story because stories are what inspires other people to realize that they can do it too. None of us are special or gifted. We just kind of made a decision and went for it. So my background really is in the airline aviation industry. I come from a background mostly in sales and marketing in that profession. I'm probably one of the few people out there that truly had a job that I loved. I always say I partied for a living. I traveled around the world in first class and with an expense account and wined and dined travel agents and corporate travelers. And gosh, who can complain about a gig like that? But I broke my one cardinal rule, which was don't date pilots. And I dated one and I married him. And over 30 years later, we're still married, which kept me in the aviation world, but took me out of aviation by choice when we decided to start a family. And that's what really launched my pivot into the entrepreneurial world. And I dipped my toe in and I've never looked back.
Okay, so I love that. So one, it's great to have a job that you love, right? So it's interesting because some people would think you only leave when you're unhappy, and you didn't. You left something that you enjoyed for something else that made you happy too. So do you want to talk about the evolution then for, because you've had lots of different experiences since leaving the airline industry, what that process has been like? Because some people underestimate the steps or the leap pads, if you will, or the evolution.
Absolutely. It's kind of funny. I'm still one of those people that say, gosh, if I could only figure out what I want to do when I grow up, because it just keeps pivoting. But as frustrating as that can be at times, and I want to encourage anybody who might be feeling that way, it's also opened up so many doors. And I look back and I think, what would I have changed? What would I really have given up? Because it's all been a great learning and growing and fun experience. So I'm also one of the, I wholeheartedly made the decision to stay home to be a mom, but at the same time, I always laugh because I say I was never really a great tiddlywinks mom. The baby stage was fine and everything, and I wouldn't have changed it, but I was really happy when they got old enough to talk and communicate and play games and do stuff, just do things. So all along, my head was constantly spinning with what else can I do? What else can I do? What can I do? How can I have a business of my own that fits into our lifestyle? Because we don't have a traditional lifestyle either. With a pilot, they're gone, they're home. They're gone, they're home. Sometimes holidays, sometimes weekends, sometimes not. It's not really a fixed schedule, and it changes all the time based on seniority and what equipment they hold. I mean, there's so many things that go into it. So it's very non-traditional. And so that was kind of a challenge too. What could I do to where I could be home, and be part of the family when he was home, and still have the balance with kids and everything else. So I actually stuck my toe in the field of network marketing. That was really my first, well, that's not entirely true. I did start a little word processing business for a short time, which got me launched out there and got me started networking and meeting people. But it was the typical trading time for dollars and still trying to figure out how to get jobs done when he was flying and I had a baby crying and a lot of that. So I quickly figured out that that really wasn't going to be a fit. And I kept getting nudged in the direction of network marketing. And I was one of those huge network marketing skeptics. I know they're out there. Thought, oh, that's what you do when you can't get a real job. But I have to say, when I did my research and education, I thought, gosh, this is one of the few things that can totally fit my lifestyle because I can set my schedule around it. And that's what I did. I'd love to tell you that I was a fast starter and that I was successful right off the bat. That would not be correct. But over time, I figured it out. I struggled and I started building a business. And then in 1999, I took my business online. I went to an internet marketing seminar that kind of changed everything for me. Anybody today listening probably thinks, what? It wasn't always being built on the internet? No, it wasn't. And everybody told me I was crazy. It's a belly to belly business. You will lose your entire team. You can't build online. The internet's a fad. It's never going to last. Get your head out of the clouds. So that was kind of the
It's
launch.
funny now that we call it the cloud.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so you were a trailblazer, and you really did pave the way for us in the industry now. And so, first of all, I just want to say thank you because you were a visionary. And so, being a network marketer gives you so much opportunity to develop as a person, personal development, yet also opportunity to, get back into those luxuries or those extras as a work at home mom. So um, you said that was one part or one phase of being an entrepreneur, and you've pivoted multiple times. So what other things do you now do, like, that have filled your cup and given you joy?
Well, it's funny. I remember when I first discovered Robert Kiyosaki and the whole Rich Dad, Poor Dad book series. I don't remember which book it's in, but one of them he talks about network marketing being such a great business model for anybody wanting to get started, because there's so many tools and trainings and things that are already in place to get you launched successfully. But the other thing that he said that really stuck out for me was that it was a great launching pad to do other things, whether it was to take that money and invest in real estate, which is one of the things that we did, which created a stream of income, or to launch into other businesses. And that's ultimately what I did beyond the real estate part of it as a passion, because I kept thinking to myself, oh my gosh, once I really got things rolling on the internet, which really 6 months into it, I sponsored more people in 6 months than I had in 6 years. And I wasn't a slacker. I mean, I was very committed to my business. And I kept thinking, I want to teach other people how to do this. Like, this is truly the bomb.com, so to speak, because to be able to be home with the kids and not have to leave my house to run to meetings and do all the things that we were doing before, it was such a gift. And so I really had that vision of that, and I held on to it. And that's exactly what I did. Once I got out there and became successful, I developed a name and a brand, and people started coming to me, network marketers and direct salespeople. Can you teach us how to do this? And so from that, I launched a coaching business specifically for network marketers. And then that led me to getting a phone call one day from a real estate broker who said, we've got this thing called Zillow coming along. And like, we don't know how to combat this big beast on the internet. We've never built a business that way. Can you teach us how to do what you did with network marketing and segue that into real estate? So that just opened up a whole nother path of coaching real estate agents, mortgage lenders, insurance. I've coached just about every profession out there how to take those skills and that marketing know-how in your story and put that into building a business online. And then from there, I figured out quickly that, especially with women, ladies, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes we're afraid to put ourselves out there. It's like, oh, I can't take a selfie. I can't shoot a video. I'm just going to post all my product pictures and information and all that kind of stuff. So through that, I really started building a self-confidence course and a self-image course to really help women pivot into what I now call upgrading their life. I've taken all of my airline experience, my network marketing experience, and my marketing experience, and I've packaged that into the Pilot Wife podcast. I have a marketing podcast as well, but I'm having a lot of fun with my Pilot Wife podcast and really tapping into a market there, as well as just women in general, anyone who struggles with what I call upgrading their life, getting off the struggle bus of comparanoia. I'm not good enough. Everybody else's A roll on Instagram looks better than my B roll, and just working through a lot of that. So that sounds like a lot in the short amount of time that we've been talking from here to there, but that's encompassed the course of nearly 30 years in business, and certainly I don't know how many, 23 years, almost 24. It'll be 24 years in October of an online presence. When you put all that together and realize that over the course of time, you just build all these skill sets. That's what, one of the things so many women and people, but women for sure, struggle with, who's going to listen to me? What do I have that anybody wants to hear? But everybody has a story. Everybody has gifts and talents. All of us have things that we think are our hobby, or just those things that we like to do that might not serve anyone else. But the reality of it is there's somebody out there that not only wants what you have, but needs what you have too.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, who would think, like, Pilot Wife podcast, that there would be a podcast for Pilot Wives, but there's a huge community of wives that need a community. Like you said, everybody has something to share in a community that wants what they have to offer or to serve. And so, sharing your story is so impactful because, anybody else that has somebody that leaves, like pilot wife is one thing, but there's other industries that have similar kind of limitations on the family structure. And so it's very relatable. And so now I guess what would be your tip, like for somebody that is thinking, I don't know if that's the life for me anymore, being an employee. And maybe I want to pursue some sort of passion of mine. What advice would you have for them?
Well, the biggest thing is just seriously make a commitment. That's it more than anything. I'm not going to, most people who make a pivot, make that pivot while they're still gainfully employed full time. Now, some people have the benefit of being able to do something different. I did have that benefit to an extent in that I had left my corporate job before I launched my business, but it was stewing around in my mind forever. It was always ongoing. And the reality of it is, while we were making it, it's tough to make it on one income, even a pilot's income. So, there was always that too. But most of the people who I've coached and most of the people who I work with and most success stories that you hear about made that pivot while they were still working full time. So don't allow the excuse of, well, I can't do that because I still have a full-time job. That's nothing but an excuse. And while it's got its challenges, everything is figure outable, and it's just small pockets of time. And Kate, I know that you're big on that, and I'm big on that. Stop trying to look at a business or even a workout plan or whatever in terms of big chunks of time. You've got 5 minutes here to send that email. You've got 15 minutes here to do that. You learn to build in pockets of time, and that's what ultimately buys you more time and will get you out of that corporate gig and into what you want. So make the commitment, understand that there's going to be challenges. That's life, right? Life is 50-50. We're on the struggle bus 50% of the time, whatever it is that we're doing, but that's how we grow and gain and benefit others, is by working through those challenges. So that's the first part, commitment, then get clarity on what it is that you're doing. Get very focused. Don't allow social media and all the rest of it to detract you from what you're doing during those 5 and 15 minutes. I hear people say, oh, I got on Instagram and an hour later, I didn't get anything done. Well, it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility to change that. And we all can, whether it's setting a timer. That's something I did for years. I had a little kitchen timer. That was before smartphones came along. And now I use my phone and I'll just set that timer. I'm on Facebook for 15 minutes. And when that timer goes off, I'm done. So I got to make the most of that time in my groups and doing those things that serve my business, shooting a podcast, shooting a video, whatever. Just get very committed, get some clarity, and use that calendar. I'm big on the C's, and then have the consistency with that.
Oh, I love that. Yes, all of it. I 100% agree, because it is all about building your business or your backup plan in those pockets of your day, coffee break. That's where I built my business. 2 15-minute coffee breaks the company gave me. It's mine to take. So I use them to build the backup plan. I built my business in those pockets. And so, I agree with you. Eliminate the excuse and decide, because when you're focused on, what you're working towards, like instead of running away from, right? Don't focus on what you're running away from, focus on what you're running towards or working towards, and put in the action so that you can create that life, right? And so what is the favorite thing that you have about your life now?
Freedom.
Totally
freedom. I mean, I always laugh because I have my 5 favorite F words. I build, you build themes and you build a strategy around your marketing plan. And I have my 5 favorite F words, and I call it F-bomb Friday and things like that because it's edgy and it gets attention. But freedom's actually not one of my 5. It's faith and family and friends and fun and fitness and finance. And those buckets fit into everything, but certainly the next one is freedom, because all of that is what gives you freedom. And because choice gives us freedom of all different things, freedom to do what we want with our time, freedom of a boss, freedom to make different choices financially because we're more comfortable, because we've built that financial plan. But that really is the biggest part. And it's kind of funny. when you were saying that about building your business in those little 15-minute coffee breaks, it's easy to think that the grass is greener and that it's easier to build a business if you're home full time. But I'm here to tell you, if you have little kids or babies, you struggle to find that 15-minute coffee break. So it's just as challenging on that end, because now you've got, all of a sudden you're set up to do a quick video and the baby starts crying or they need something or whatever it is. So just work with what you've got and make it work for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a good shout out, because we do know lots of people who are struggling as a stay-at-home mom for that time management too. But we all have to work, like you said, work with what you got, find those times and take action. Like you said, take action, just do something and, be very committed to your business. So I love that, because, now you get to live that life of freedom and having that flexibility and that extra finances and the confidence to be able to say, yeah, you know what, today I want to try this today, or this month I want to focus on this in my business. And you can do that because you have the freedom to do so. So
it's true. And I have adult children now, but next week I'm flying out to Nashville and I'm going to take 9 days to move my daughter back to Scottsdale, which I couldn't be more thrilled. But my business allows me to do that. My business allows me the freedom to be able to do that and take that time. And I've got a few little, same thing. I've got pockets of business things scheduled into that block where it's like, okay, at this time I've got to be on this quick call, all of that. But again, it's really building out your mindset and getting that straight to know that you can do that and that you will do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And I think, so many people are going to want to connect with you. So we'll make sure that if you are listening or watching this episode, you can go down to the comments and there will be the links to Jackie's social and her show. So you can connect with her, and please reach out, because we're in a business of networking relations. So it's not about selling a product or a service, but really just building relationships. And that's what I love, is getting to connect with you and those that are listening. So thank you so much, Jackie, for all that you have trailblazed for all of us in the network marketing, but also moms as general in this mompreneur industry, because you really are a trailblazer. Just say you can launch into something different. You can pivot at any time. Just be committed. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Kate. I appreciate you as well.